Christopher Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance!
Will it be a Good Friday for Town, or will relegation fears have risen on Easter Monday? It's the warm-up episode 140. It's your host, Brady Frost, and joining me for a bumper preview is Tom Bradshaw. Tom, how are you doing ahead of the Easter weekend?
I am not too bad, Brady. I'm a bit bunged up, so apologies to anyone who was expecting the soothed tones of my usual voice. It's gone a bit more... the bass has been turned up a little bit, I think, hasn't it? So, I am looking forward to 2 games in quick succession. And after an international break, I think every Town fan is hoping to see some improvements on the last couple of games we've played.
Yes, well said, sir. I mean, yeah, he talked about it there last time out, Huddersfield failed to beat Rotherham. I don't want to dwell on it too much, but they are in the relegation zone. Has the international break kind of helped you feel how you kind of feeling about it? Do you think you need a little bit of time off?
International break has not helped me footballing wise, because I'm also gone extremely anti Gareth Southgate now as well. So I've just been like, I think after how I clung on to Darren Moore for so long, and people did question why I kept giving him a chance, I've now just become quite brutal with with football managers, and those England games were my last straw. Andre's got to maybe pull his finger out for me for these next couple of games.
It's got a lot to answer for. I get called a Southgate apologist just because I point out that we've had a few good tournaments. Anyway, let's not get into that. We're not an England podcast. We are a Huddersfield Town podcast, and the first game of the weekend for Huddersfield Town is hosting Coventry City on Friday. Sky Blues, who have an upcoming FA Cup semi-final against Manchester United, they're 8th in the table. They've won the last 2 in the league, but they did lose the previous 2. But Tom, did you know this little stat? Got some lovely little stats here. Thanks to We Are Town for the stats I'm about to say. Terriers are unbeaten in their last 7 league games on Good Friday.
Oh,
yeah,
that is a good stat.
Yeah, so they've won 5 and they've drawn 2 of the last 7 league matches played on Good Friday, with the last defeat coming against Grimsby Town in March 1978.
Wow.
And encouragingly, Sky Blues have won just Coventry. They've won just 3 of the last 17 league games played on Good Friday. Drawn 6, lost 8, but 2 have come in the last 4. So does that make any difference to the game? Tom Bradshaw, I'll ask you. Does it make you feel a little bit better about it?
A little bit, because I do always think there's that kind of you can look at things and take that kind of I don't know what you'd call it. Maybe it's the historically and the kind of, is there a bit of voodoo about things like, is our record on Good Friday good? Yes, it is, and theirs is bad. So I kind of weigh it up and think, hopefully Town fans will be walking in, having a few beers, having a day off, getting excited. It's going to be a tough game, isn't it? But I think when you get a stat like that thrown out, it gives you a bit of confidence going into it, Brady.
Yeah, it does. I mean, obviously we're going to preview 2 games, but we'll talk about the Coventry one. We've got a fan chat as well. We don't have one for the Stoke game because who knows what's going to happen. They're playing, don't want to do that for you. Tom, with this, how do you feel about this one? Because obviously we've got a home and an away game, and Coventry definitely a more difficult opposition compared to Stoke. But Town at home, I feel these are the games that kind of need to get a point from, at least, or get the points to stay up. How are you feeling heading into this one? Because they're on a good run, a good moment, as the would say.
It's a home game, innit? And you're right. And I think it's a minimum of a point. And I know we slated about how many draws we've had this season, but at this stage it is every point matters, and especially when you're coming up against a team who are on a good run, very good team. drilled really well, pushing for playoffs, getting into a semi-final of an FA Cup, beating Premier League teams. You kind of, if you come away from Friday with a point, you're probably saying that's not a bad one to put on the board. But you are at home, and you'd like to see Town go for it and try get the win. There's a bit of confidence that they've got a massive game coming up in that semi-final, and could it affect some of the players? I don't know, potentially. But then they're also chasing playoffs, so you'd think they'd be focused on that as well. Funny one, Coventry as well, Brady. We've only played them like something stupid like 20 times. It's mad. We have actually got a better record out of the two teams, so I don't know if that gives anyone kind of a bit of optimism, but we haven't. I think it's 1 win in 7, maybe, or even a bit more actually. If you went a bit further back, but in like this decade, it's 1 win in 7. So maybe Town are due a win.
Maybe.
But I don't know. How are you feeling ahead of it? Do you find either of these games more important than the other, or one, like, because like you're saying, this is a home game? Do you think, would you be targeting a home performance more than a away one, as it to get the win? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that Stoke game's going to be absolutely rancid on Monday. So I'm kind of, I think that's the thing. Like, for me, it'd be very typical Town if they won somehow against Coventry and lost against Stoke. I feel like it, or like drew against Stoke. I think I'm looking at this kind of Easter weekend. We have to cast our mind back. Obviously got that good win against Watford this time last season. I think that was like a really good kind of momentum builder for us, and I kind of think they need 4 points, to be honest.
Yeah.
So from these 2 games, so yeah, I don't think there's any shame in losing to Coventry. Obviously, you want to win your home games if you can, but sometimes, again, in this league, you just got to kind of look at the side you're playing against, and like you say, they're doing really well. They're not. I think is it 4 points? Yeah, they're 4 points off 6th place Norwich with a game in hand.
Yeah.
So I do think Coventry. I really dislike playing Coventry. Like I just don't. I feel like they're a really difficult team to play against. And you've obviously every time we play Coventry, we always say you've got to credit the work Mark Robbins has done. But it was it was Darren Moore's first game, wasn't it? And we ended up scraping a draw right at the end. But
And were they like only a couple of points in front of us as well at that point?
Yeah, they always start a little bit slow. They did the same last season, didn't they? And then end up sneaking the 6th, and it looks a little bit similar, the kind of trajectory. But yeah, I remember in that reverse fixture, I don't think we played particularly well, and they probably should have been further ahead. So that's my worry about Coventry. I think they're quite a, they've been scoring a lot of goals recently, but I don't think. I'm not expecting a ding dong with this. You know what I mean? I think it will be quite a close game. Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little bit nervous about this. I think particularly because it's the one to kick off the weekend. I think if we get a bad result here, it only adds even more pressure to that Stoke game.
Yeah. They score goals, don't they? That is the massive worry. They score goals, and have been in these last their last 6-7 games, not struggling to find the back of the net. And it's one of those, isn't it? Unless Town are absolutely amazing defensively, you can't really see us outscoring a team like that. I can see them. They're at least going to score a goal against us for me, because this season, as good as the defense has been at times, there always seems to have been a lapse in judgment or a mistake in that kind of back line from someone. So I'd be very surprised if we don't concede against Coventry, and it's kind of like, if we can keep it as low as possible, one goal, I'd say that's what you've got to have. Then maybe you pick up the 3 points. But I just can't see Town scoring more than kind of 2 goals past this Coventry team.
Yeah, I mean, although, looking at it, and Stephen Chicken kind of reported on the injury news, Bojan Radlovic is fit for this. He's been absent, and he's trained fully over the international break, which we've not really had. Reece Healy's returned to training, but he's probably only going to make a cameo off the bench. There's a little bit more time on the training ground for Andre Brighton, right? And he kind of spoke about that in his pre-match, how that's been positive. I don't know. I don't know about you, Tom. I'm just getting a massive sense of deja vu. I just feel like every international break Town have had for like the past 2 or 3 seasons feels massive.
Yeah.
But this, I don't know. Are you feeling more encouraged that Brighton Wright has had more time on the training ground to kind of implement what he wants from this team?
Yeah, I am a bit Brady, but kind of what you're just saying there, though. I'm bored. Honestly, like it's every season, isn't it? It's coming down to the wire. I know it's. I mean, it does make for an exciting end of the season, but it's just like, come on, give us a season where at this moment in time we're sat in 12th and we're not worrying about relegation or getting the playoffs. We're just happy. That's all. I think every Town fan has asked for that for years now. So yeah, I think him having a week on the 2 weeks really, isn't it? 2 weeks on the training field with him can only be a good thing and can only get his message across and can only work on patterns of play that he wants to bring into the team, and because it's there, and I've seen people saying that some of the performances have been no better than more, but I think that's a load of rubbish. I think there's performances there, and I think there's a clear desire that he puts a team out to win and score goals. Like we got, and that West Brom game was terrible, but West Brom turned it up for 20 minutes, and Town didn't give up. Town didn't, and this is a thing though that's quite debatable, isn't it? It's like, because goal difference could play a massive part this season, and it's like, should Town have maybe took the foot off the gas at 2-1 down when they were absolutely under the cosh? But Town had in that West Brom game. Town had some massive chances, and like not even 1 or 2. I feel like it's 4 or 5 massive chances where any team in the kind of top 8 is burying those and scoring 4 goals that day, kind of thing. And I think that's off the back of the kind of football that Brian Wright wants to play, in the kind of attacking front foot football. So I definitely disagree with people who say the football has been no better than more, because it has. I haven't sat through a game that Andre's been manager and thought Town are playing boring football, or I've been bored by it. I mean, the other team scored a lot of goals, but I've not. Do you know what I mean? I've not thought this is a boring way to play football.
Yeah, I think the Rotherham game, I suppose that was quite bad, but I do just think, I don't know. For me, you can probably hear, listeners can probably hear from us doing this. I mean, I've been doing this for 4 seasons now, but I'm a bit like you. Like, I'm a bit bored and a bit fed up, and I don't know how much you can put this down to Brighton, right? Like, he's only been here 6 weeks, and I just think I don't want to dig out players, but I just think it's just, I think we're seeing a lot of the same stuff, and we've had. Look, from the players' side, they've had 6 coaches in 18 months. A lot of the squad, yes, there's been some new introductions, but a large bulk of it is still the same as when we had the start of that first coach. And it's just, I don't know. I think whatever happens, whether Town stay up or Town go down, I think we need a massive clear out. And in some ways, obviously, do not want Town to get relegated, but it's probably easier to start again if you are relegated, because you kind of have no choice. But that Rotherham game was bad, but I don't want to make excuses, and Sorba Thomas can't play this game because he's serving that suspension, but I do just think 10 men, like I just think if they'd lost that game,
Brady, that Rotherham game was bad, but even with 10 men, Town were in control of that game. And that was the annoying thing with that game was I don't know if for some reason there was some sort of nerves. Maybe the pressure had got to the players a bit, but you could see how easy Town were controlling that game. The only chance Rotherham really had was the Sorba getting sent off for me. I don't remember them kind of getting I think,
but yeah,
yeah, but do you know, like the Town just had so much of the ball, which is another good sign for me. Like it felt like Town was setting the tempo of the game, controlling it, and we've seen that in spells against better opposition as well. Town kind of taking control of stuff, and it's doing it at the right times and making sure that they can weather. I mean, you basically West Brom. You take out their kind of 15, 20 minutes of just them turning it on, but that just seemed maybe a bit naive. Some of the decision making from the players on the pitch, and I think what you're saying, Brady, like it's 6 managers. What is it? 6 managers in God knows how long, and
18 months.
yeah, the players have got to start to take account for the position that we're in, and you can't keep blaming the manager if the kind of tools there aren't doing what they're supposed to be.
Yeah, and I think even if, sorry, this is turned into kind of wider discussion rather than previous. I think even if Town go down, they've got to kind of stick with Brighton, right? Like, would he want to stick in League One? But I don't know. It sounds bad because I think there's a lot. If Town go down, I think there's a lot of factors that go into it. But for me, I think the one, as much as like we said, like we wanted to give Darren more chance, I think sticking with him for too long would be what's done us rather than anything Brighton right does, in my opinion.
Agreed.
But yeah, Coventry.
Yeah, sorry, Coventry. All positives and touching on some of those players. Like, I mean, what a group of players they've got, really, Brady. I think you got to kind of hold your hands up and look at Coventry's kind of recruitment, and obviously sticking with Mark Robbins all this time. And it's quite amazing what they've done given the kind of circumstances they've been in over the years with a stadium and ownership and all that. But yeah, I mean, Sims, Wright, Godden, O'Hare, even our mate Casey Palmer's doing really well at the moment, isn't it? And it just seems to be clicking for him really well at the moment.
Yeah, they're a team I feel quite envious about because I think we're quite similar in terms of. I know. Obviously, they've sold Gyökeres and they've got money and they've put it straight back into players. But I don't know. I look at them and I think they're of a similar level to Town. Like I think they're kind of someone we could, just kind of very clear on what they want to do, and like again, finances are a bit different now. But if Town, for whatever reason, had someone who they sell for big bucks again, which let's be fair, like we've sold. We have got a habit of selling for quite a lot of money. I do feel like it would be, reinvested. They reinvested that money for Gyökeres very, very well. Like you said, Ellis Sims, I think it was 8 million, which is, a lot of money in the Championship, but he's starting to show that. And you particularly like Hadji Wright, he's been fantastic this season.
Yeah, he's great, man. I think what a signing that is, like kind of you thought the kind of losing Gyökeres, is that who it was?
Yeah.
That's how you say it, yeah. Because he absolutely bossed it. Like he was way above the Championship, wasn't he? I think Cozzy said it loads, like on the other pod. Like I don't get how a Premier League team didn't kind of come in for him because the quality's there, so obviously there. But I really like him. That finish, that goal against Wolves in the FA Cup, last minute, the pressure, the timing. Him and Sims, the player, the touch from Sims, but that finish from Wright, just the classes. Like they recruit so well, and like I said, I'd be very surprised if Coventry don't get at least a goal against Town on Friday. It'd be the form that they're in. If Town kept a clean sheet, it's possibly got to be Town's best defensive performance of the season.
Yeah, I mean, and even the great Neil Warnock lost 4-0 to Coventry. I think that's what worries me as well. Like you said, they got the players to hurt us. And looking at the stats, they've lost just 3 of the last 22 in all competitions. So
Yeah.
we're not feeling particularly positive for this one. But let's maybe not continue the positivity because I think fans are feeling the same. But it is time for Kwana's question.
A few things change, but also a lot of things are still the same.
So the question we asked at the head of the previous show was: has time during the international break made you feel more or less confident about Town's survival chances? So I've got 3 here. Thanks to everyone who wrote in. We'll ask. We kind of touched on it a little bit, Tom, but we'll get our thoughts too. Flinty says, just the same, we need 4 wins out of 8 games to have any chance of staying up. A team that has won 8 out of 38 all season and never looked like scoring against Rotherham simply aren't going to do it. We're down. There you go. Let's stop the pod right there. Paulie Richard said, it's not really changed my feelings. I think we'll scrape through and survive again. We can pick up enough points along the way to stay up. And I don't think goal difference will be as big a factor as others seems to think. And then he says, love the podcast all the time. Thanks, Paulie, particularly through these trying times. And Marco says, hopefully, Andre Brighton has been working hard on making us more effective, including getting the best from Matos, whose omission I felt had contributed to us not getting results in the last few games. Yeah, interesting one. With Matos. But Tom, yeah, has this time away. You hate Southgate now, but you don't hate Brighton, right? We've kind of touched on it a little bit. Survival chances. I listened to the Championship chat recently, and they have now backed us to get relegated, which I think is probably fair.
Complain, can you? You can't complain about that.
No. How are you feeling more or less confident with this gap?
I think if Town beat Stoke, Birmingham, and Millwall, Town stay up because they're the teams that are in and around you, and it's that tight. If you're taking 3 points off those teams and going ahead of them, with the kind of running that everyone else has got, and especially those 3 teams, it's going to be very. I think 9 points against those. It's 9 points only against those 3 teams, though, Brady. For me, I think there's a strong chance Town stay up just because of the running that everyone else has got, and you'd kind of be thinking, surely Stoke, Birmingham, and Millwall won't be winning whatever 4 or 3 out of their last few games either. So for me, it's the cliche of 3 cup finals. I mean, you could obviously pick up points in those other games, but I think it could just come down to if Town can beat those 3 teams, we probably stay up. And then if you got a couple of draws, maybe one more win along the way, you're definitely staying up.
Yeah. But I suppose to go back to what Flinty said, you need 4 out of 8. You need to 50. That's like playoff form, isn't it?
Yeah.
I know the Championship gets to silly season, but yeah, I think the biggest problem Town have got, for me, I don't think they're going to get 9 points against those teams because that's just not how stuff works. Like, I weirdly, typical Town, I look at like Bristol City away, and I think that's a game Town could win because Bristol don't really have anything to play for.
Yeah.
The problem they've got is I think the top 2's race is going to go right to the wire. And we've got Ipswich on the last day. We cannot go into the Ipswich game needing a point because they've been absolutely needing anything to stay up because they've been sensational at home. I think they'll blow us away. So yeah, I don't know. To be honest, has the international break? I think it's just been nice to have a little bit of a breather for it.
Yeah.
But there's 8 games left, and I just think, to be honest, I think depending on how they get on, I think this is a pivotal weekend. I think this will decide. I know that's silly because then you still got 6 games left and anything can happen. But I think this weekend decides whether we stay up or not because that Stoke game. I mean, we'll come on to it, but it's Stoke are dreadful at home. They have to get some. They have to get some of that.
It is that
Stoke bubble with the thumbs down.
It's that Stoke. It is that Stoke. So Stoke got Hull, haven't they? And
yeah,
I mean Stoke. It's funny. Us and Stoke got 7th and 8th. and then we're playing each other. But that's what I mean, Brady. We beat Stoke, we go a point above them.
Yeah.
And then that's another team below us. I think it's just, I'd be just targeting those games. I'd be targeting those games so much. I'd be almost setting up for every other game for minimum impact and trying to basically play for a draw.
Yeah.
And then I'd be doing all the most bloody research, practicing whatever is, however Stoke, Millwall, Birmingham have conceded goals the most this season, and etc. Looking how they've lost games, and I'd be doing all that and making sure that the players go out in those 3 games with a plan that is going to beat those 3 teams. And I think those 9 points against those 3 teams keep you up. But like you said, Brady, it's Huddersfield Town, and it's not going to be that simple, is it?
No, I just don't think it don't work about like that. That's why we love football, innit? I think what we'll do, Tom, is we'll take a break. But before we do, I want your match prediction for this Coventry game.
Positive. I'm going to go 1-1, and we'll get a point.
Nice.
It's going to be a good defensive display. And I'll say let's have Radders coming on and getting his first goal, and yeah.
I would like that. I think we need that. My heart says 1-1, but I think Coventry might be 2-1 here. So I'll go 2-1 to be different, which is quite negative. But again, silly question. I know we need points at the start of the season, but I think if they put in a good account and they could carry that on in Stoke, I think that's it. So yeah, I think I wouldn't be surprised if it's 1-1 there. But I think, like you said, I just don't see us keeping a clean sheet. That's nice and cheery. I tell you what is quite cheery though, when you're at the Magic Rock Tap Room having a beer. So if you're going to have one on Easter Friday, make sure to get down there. But if you want to order some online, don't forget this podcast is sponsored by Magic Rock Brewing, and you can use our code AHTTC10 to get 10% off any online orders that you do. So yeah, you'll see it at the ticker if you're watching on YouTube. Tom and I are going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back and we are going to preview the Stoke game. Okay, Tom. We talked a little bit about Stoke. I did do a poll on the old Twitters, just to kind of get a feel for how the fans are feeling, because I think that's the noise I would use to kind of sum up how we're feeling about Town at the moment. But it was ahead of the preview show. We want to know if Huddersfield Town were to stay up out of the 4 teams above them in the table. So there's no 5 options, unfortunately. Otherwise, I would have included Blackburn in here. But we said who out of the teams above them, the 4 teams, do you think is most likely to be relegated if Town do stay up? We had so the result, it was quite close, but the winner was Plymouth, 33%. Yeah. It was Birmingham afterwards with 28%, Stoke with 23%, and QPR with 16%.
Yeah.
Tom, do you think the same? Because I think my apologies if I said this on this podcast before, but Plymouth for me, it feels very similar to when Blackpool got to the Premier League that season. Where they started really, really well and won a lot of admirers, and then I just dropped, haven't they? They just seem to be dropping quite a lot.
And they're not happy with their new manager either. The fans are not happy with that new manager. So there's a bit of tension there at the moment. I don't think they're too confident that he's going to kind of get enough points to keep them up. Birmingham's an interesting one, isn't it? Gary Rowett. I think he's a guy who goes into that kind of club and might get a couple of wins out of them. There's players in that Birmingham squad though. That's the thing. They've not got that.
They've underperformed, haven't they?
They have underperformed.
Yeah.
Running wise, I think Plymouth's running's pretty hard, but Plymouth have to play. They do play Rotherham, QPR, Stoke, and Millwall, and that's another one where it's I think this is the other thing with the end of the season. A lot of these teams near the bottom have to play each other still. which could hinder or help Town, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I think I put Plymouth down when I was looking at that poll, Brady. Because I just think they'll slip in. I mean, Wednesday keep kind of flirting with the idea of getting out of it, don't they? And then they
Get
get whacked 6-0 at Ipswich. So I do think it's Town's to. It probably is that one spot for Town. I'd be very disappointed if Town dropped below Wednesday, because I just don't think Wednesday are that consistent that they should be kind of winning more games than Town by the end of the season to go above us. So then, yeah, for me, it's Plymouth or Birmingham, I think. But then I think QPR have shown a bit of that, like Wednesday, though, where they've been on, what did they win, like 4 in a row, didn't they? 4 or 5 in a row, something stupid like that, and then went on a bad run again. And I think what you're asking for Town, what we've been waiting for is Town to do that this season, and we haven't really done it, have we? We haven't won 3 in a row or something, I don't think, have we? And if what a time it would be to do that if he got those 3 wins out of this team in this last 8 games.
Yeah, no, definitely. And because we're kind of talking about this, just to read the fixtures, because this is, again, deja vu. Look at the other teams' fixtures. On Friday, Millwall play West Brom, which is before. It's at 1 o'clock. You've got Sheffield Wednesday taking on Swansea. Again, teams around us playing each other. Plymouth had to travel to Norwich. They're in good form at the moment, so you probably wouldn't expect them to get a win. Hull, Stoke, obviously. QPR, Birmingham, that's a big one. And Blackburn, Ipswich. So again, there's some tough fixtures for the other teams around us as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, Monday, Plymouth take on Bristol. Birmingham have got Preston. Rotherham, Millwall. Again, Rotherham could be tough against Millwall. You don't know. Sunderland play Blackburn. And Middlesbrough take on Wednesday, and Swansea QPR. So again, they're not easy games, for some of them either. So again, I think it's important. Town have got away with it for me a few times by having other teams do them a favour. I think even this season, and I know they need to concentrate on themselves. But again, it's looking at the teams around us and thinking who's going to go on a run. And I think that's kind of what you got to factor into. But let's talk about Stoke, because they have been on a run, but it's a bad run, which probably would give Town fans encouragement. They're the lowest scorers at home in the Championship this season. They've scored 14 at about 365, and 4 of them came on the opening day against Rotherham. Also, the Championship chat pointed this out, scored just 6 times prior to half-time on their own patch. So, again, they're playing Hull City on Friday. We don't know the result, so we'll give you the potential reactions to that now. Oh no, a Stoke win. That's not good. They lost. Oh, that's good. A draw. All right. But yeah, stodgy game this, Tom. I'm more worried. Weirdly, I'm more worried about this because I think there's more riding on it, and I think it's going to be horrible. They don't score. We have struggled to score, although we have, like you say, in that West Brom game, we have been making chances, and that's probably more encouraging to see, because if you keep making the chances, hopefully the goals will come. But yeah, I'm really worried about this game. It's on Sky as well. I think it reeks of that QPR game that cost Aramora's job. I think it's just going to be a really awful watch.
Yeah, looking at who they've played at home in that kind of recently in our predicament. So Wednesday got a win there, 1-0. Millwall drew 0-0 there. They lost to Birmingham 2-1, and they beat QPR 1-0. So they've not run away against teams in and around our position at home. Obviously it's been quite a tough watch, tough game. So kind of gives me a bit of confidence that obviously Town are going to go there and it's going to be evenly competed, and there's a chance for Town to get those 3 points. But yeah, Brady, I think, like I was saying, It's a 9-pointer. This one for me, it's massive. It's a massive game because it's a team that you're not just going above and you're taking points off them basically.
Mm.
You're taking one more game off them where they can't get any points on you, but you maybe go above them. So for me, it's these games are massive. The ones that for the teams that are actually in this kind of fight.
Yeah, and just looking at again going to other teams' fixtures, Stoke have got to play Swansea, Sheffield Wednesday, and Plymouth in the next 5, and West Brom after us. So yeah, I don't know. Like you say, everyone's got to play each other. So I'm concerned we're a little bit negative with this as well. I think it's just we're slightly worried. I think particularly after that Rotherham game for me, I think that's the kind of one everyone had as a banker. And yes, there's been a bit of a gap, and hopefully that looks good. But there's a little bit of trepidation. But again, there's a lot of teams around us who've got to play each other, and Town have benefited from that. And eventually, your luck does run out. But Stoke look bad. Yes, they lost 3-0 to Norwich the last home game, and before that they did beat Middlesbrough 2-0, but from all accounts, it was a bit of a fluke. Did beat QPR at home as well recently. But yeah,
Town can beat this Stoke team, Brady. It's been a very long time since I've looked at a Stoke squad and thought that's better. Oh, sorry, that's worse. Sorry. It's been a long time since I've looked at a Stoke team and not thought, oh, they've got some good players there. Oh, that squad's better than this squad that Stoke have got. Town can actually get a result against this squad.
Yeah. I mean, there's not many names that stand out really because, Lewis Baker, I suppose Ben Pearson. He's a bit of, likes his shithousery. Yeah, like you say, it's not. They've normally had bigger names before, and didn't they sign another 17 players in the summer? Yeah, it's so hard. Ben Wilmot's a player I actually like for them, the centre back, but yeah, like you say, it's not. I don't know, nothing famous last words, but I'm not as obviously I'm not as concerned as we are playing Coventry, but you look at that and like you say, it's not like it's not like a QPR who've got Elias Chair and Chris Willock, and you're like, oh, a little bit worried because they're a lot better than us. But again, if we're talking about this, this just reeks of draw to me because they know they're bad at home, and I think, having said that, though, he says completely contradicts himself. I wouldn't be against kind of what we did against Watford, which is maybe stay in the game and go for it last 30, because I think the second Town don't deal well with pressure. I think that's the thing. Town really struggle with defending a lead. So that would almost be my game plan for this. It's just keep it 0-0, have the fans get on their back, and then just go for it last half an hour and see what you can get. Because I do think if Town go ahead in this one, I think it just really plays into our hands. But having said that, knowing Town, I think if there is the cliche of scoring too early. I think Town need to score in the second half, need to take the lead in the second half. Because if they score in the first half and they sit back, because even Andrew Brighton-Wright's talked about this, even in some of the games we've gone ahead, we've sat back and he's like, no, get further forward. But I just think the mentality of the players being in relegation battles, a lot of riding on the line, I think it's natural. It's frustrating as a fan, but I think it's natural where they would sit back and defend. So, for me, that's how I would approach this game. But what about you, Tom?
I think it's going to be such a tight game. I mean, you look at it's very similar kind of scoring patterns to us. What is it? Vidigal top scorer 6. What's Hellick got 7? 6. Hellick
9.
got 7, 9.
Yeah.
Oh God, Hellick, why are you not a striker for us this season? I think that'd be a great tactic. I mean, obviously, you go out there, you get an early goal. That'd be ideal, wouldn't it? And then they have to open up, and you can get them on the counter. We'll have Sorba back, won't we? I think it's a game where you just try get them on the counter. For me, get the pace on the pitch, because they've got some like kind of decent defenders, haven't they? But was it 2 of them on loan? I think McNally from Burnley, Hoiver from Wolves, both very young, kind of one of those getting their face a bit, put them under pressure. Stoke fans are going to be putting a lot on this game as well. So, like you said, Brady, if you can get them on their backs, it's not a nice place to be getting shouted at, is it? The Britannia, so or whatever it's called now, Bet365 Arena. Yeah, so I'm with you, Brady, on the kind of tactic of maybe hitting them on, keeping it tight, getting them frustrated, putting pressure on them, and then if Town can get that goal, yeah, it'd be ideal. But I think I'd be bigging ourselves up if I'm Andre. I'd be letting the players know that I wouldn't be setting up for a draw, because I believe in this team. The squad that we've got can compete against this Stoke team and beat them.
Yeah, I agree. This feels like a Delano Bergzor game for me. It's just, I was looking at it. This kind of sums up Delano Bergzor for me. He's infuriating at times, but I just think he has something a lot of the Town players that have. And again, people are going to roll their eyes when I talk about XG, but this kind of sums up Bergzor for me. He's got an expected goals across the season of 3.48, and he scored 7. And that kind of sums him up for me. He is infuriated. He does silly stuff, like he doesn't pass at times. But I'm glad this feels like if Stoke had that type of player, I'd feel like, oh, he's going to score against us. That's the type of player who scores against us. And I wonder if this is a game for him. Because I do think I always go back to it, but that smash and grab we had away at Sunderland, where it shoots it through the defender's legs. That's the type of goal I think that could win Town a game. So I wonder if this is a big game for him.
Yeah, he's due a run, and he's due a good run, because he's not for the lack of trying, Bergzorg, is he? And you can see the frustration on his face when it's not going for him. So he's due a bit of luck, and he's due kind of just the right decisions being made at the right time. I think these last couple of games he's lacked that a little bit. Maybe he's getting in his own head a bit, something like that. But yeah, I think you're right, Brady. Hopefully, he causes Stoke a lot of problems.
Yeah. I mean, Tom, would you? We talked about the strikers, like you say, Healy might be able to play a bit more on this one. Obviously, Ward has been starting some games. They've gone with Sorba, and Sorba will play for this, which actually I think a rest he can go kind of gung ho in this one, which might be good. Would you start Bojan in both? Get him some minutes?
Maybe. I don't know. He's a very interesting player, that Bojan, isn't he? I think he needs toughening up a bit. That's what he needs. He needs to know what a championship's like. So maybe you do throw him into the deep end, give him 45 minutes in both. If it's not working, you take him off at half time. I think Healy coming back could be great, because there's the glimpse of him we saw when he was playing, I think, very promising. And I'll think of some of those chances. I think Cardiff was one where we had some stupid chances that we didn't put away, and I'd like to think someone like him is in the box and slotting those away. And
yeah,
we've missed that. I feel like that's what we were getting with him. That's what we were bringing him in for. The things he was doing, it was Toulouse, wasn't it, where he was really on fire. And even some of his goals, he scored a couple for Watford this season, and some of those are in that similar vein. So
I think the bench too. I think he got two.
That's it, Brady. That's it, Brady. I think the sooner he's back, the better. And I think he comes on and he gets you. I think with the running, if we've got fully fit him, I'd like to think he's getting 2 or 3 goals in this running.
Yeah. I think he's the one. I think just because he'd been in the Championship before, I think he's the one I think can make more of an impact. I think Boyani, he's moved from the Finnish league to here. I think we'll see. He impressed, didn't he? He had a couple of little eye-catching things at the start, and he's been out of the team with injuries and stuff. Yeah. For me, I think he's, it's a classic. Get on the weights in the summer, get a full pre-season under your belt, and I think we'll see a lot better from him. Not that we've seen bad from him. I just don't think he's really had a run. But yeah, Healy's the one I think like he could be so crucial for us because, looking at this, like, Brighton Writer said, yeah, you can probably only play 20-30 minutes on Friday against Coventry, but this to me that feels like right. Give Wardy 60 and then just give Healy the last half an hour and just go for it. As we do this, again, I feel like it's been quite a negative podcast, but maybe I'm talking myself up to be let down here. But yeah, Healy for the last half an hour against Stoke interests me, and particularly with a Sorba sits a game out, I think that could really play into our hands. With that in mind, Tom, let's talk about our match predictions for this one. What are you going with?
I even not taking into account whatever happened against Coventry, you have to win this game. I think even if Town have somehow come away from that Coventry game with 3 points, I think you still got to win this game because you want to keep Stoke in and around that dogfight. You don't want them either pulling away or what have you. But I maybe I'm too confident with this one, Brady. But I actually think Town going to win this. I think Town going to win this game 2-0, and it's going to put us all at ease. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be an easy game. It'll be a horrible, scrappy game. But I just don't know. I just feel like I said, it's a bit of a now or never, and we're due a little run, and hopefully it's going to come at the right time. But yeah, 2-0. Let's go with Hellick getting his 10th goal of the season, and maybe Healy coming off the bench and getting a second.
Nice. Yeah, I've said a couple of times, I think this has got draw written all over it, but I reckon I could see us doing what we did at Watford, maybe going behind, but coming back to win 2-1. And I just think that would be huge, given how we've got Millwall at home after that. I think, like you say, if there's going to be a run, it's getting a win against Stoke and then, trying to go against Millwall, which I think will be a tough game, which we'll preview, obviously, in the next one. But yeah, I'm going to go 2-1. I'm going to be positive, and I think we'll probably, in a very Town way, like I say, it'll be a defender from a set piece. I'm going to go for, I think Brody Spencer's going to score in this one because he had a good international break, and he's caught the eye. And I think he might score. And I'm going to go for Wardy. I think he, again, kind of, this feels very Danny Ward. There's like striker chat and we need to replace him, but he'll get a goal. We're going with that. Okay, we're both going with wins. So we've ended on a positive note there, Town fans. Look, like we've said, this is a massive weekend. We'll know where Town are at. And then, even if for whatever reason the results don't go great and it looks a bit miserable, still 6 games left. You never know what's going to happen. Look at those other fixtures we talked about. And like Tom says, we get a win here. Bit of momentum. We're due a run, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, Tom, we'll leave it there. Anything you want to say to the listeners ahead of the Easter weekend?
Not really. I need to go get in bed. My nose is so bunged up. Hopefully all clear for Friday and I can watch Town get an important 3 points, Brady. But yeah, I think enjoy your weekend.
Yeah.
I think I don't know. It's like I think because we've been in this situation now for the X amount of years out of whatever it's been, that maybe it will help us as a club knowing what to expect, and it might hinder some of those others who have been kind of dragged into it. But maybe I'm not nervous because I'm just like, it's just rinse and repeat. It feels like.
Yeah. Look, let's see what happens come the weekend.
Yeah.
But look, like don't let the football ruin your Easter weekend, whatever happens. But also, it's always that little bonus if it goes well. And whatever you do not eat an Easter egg in one go. We've been warned by the NHS to do that, so we will leave it there.
Really? I didn't know
yeah.
that. It's just, when have they said this? That's news to me. I've already eaten 7 Easter eggs.
Chief Medical Officer, I saw it on Twitter. Yeah, says don't eat an Easter egg all in one go, which sounds to me like he's eating an Easter egg all in one go.
Yeah.
Yeah, for it. But yes, don't listen to us for health advice. I should clarify that. We're going to end this here, but come on, big weekend for Town, Easter weekend. Let's hope for something positive. Up the Town.
Up the Town.